the zoning administrator for the city of Los Altos. It's Wednesday, May 15th, 2024. I'm Nick Zorns. I am the Development Services Director and Zoning Administrator of the city of Los Altos. I'm going to ask is if there are any public comments for items not on the agenda, which I don't think that there are. So with that, I am going to approve the meeting minutes from the April 3rd, 2024 meeting. And then with that, we're going to get started with the public hearing item, which is for the design review application at 131 San Juan Court. So Sean Gallegos, staff planner, will give a presentation and then we will go from there.
Good afternoon, Zoning Administrator Zorns. My name is Sean Gallegos, Senior Planner with the Planning Division. The project before you is a design review application for a new 3,502 square foot two-story house. The proposed residence blends a neo-eclectic architecture melding traditional and contemporary elements. It features a mix of traditional two-story layouts with modern touches like a flat roof and open floor plans. Exterior materials for the proposed structure include stained seam metal roof, stucco, stone veneer, aluminum wood frame windows, and wood trims. The design does include a balcony that does exceed the residential design guidelines due to its depth exceeding 4 feet. Staff does recommend condition 4A and B respectively to reduce the balcony depth to 4 feet and to add evergreen screening plants along the side and rear yard to address potential privacy concerns. Staff received an email from a resident at 105 Jordan Avenue that expressed privacy concerns regarding the balcony. Staff does believe that condition 4A and B address those concerns. Staff recommends project approval based on the findings and conditions. This concludes staff's presentation. Is there any questions?
I don't have any questions for staff. Does the project owner or applicant want to provide any additional information or context regarding the design review application?
I think basically what Sean has spoken and did a great job of actually explaining the project itself. I'm pretty much here for any questions that you might have.
Okay. I don't have any specific questions regarding the proposal of the project. But I do know that obviously there is public comment from one of the neighbors. So ma'am, I believe you had some comments that you'd like to make regarding the design review application.
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
You'd like her to come up to say.
Oh. Okay, yeah. My name is Jessica Bernhardt. I live at 764 Nella Lane and I have lived there for over 20 years. This card in the mail is the first I ever heard of this project. They claim that they came by my house 6 months ago, but we have and left some packet that we never saw. We probably were out of town at the time, but even still, we have never heard of this project before. I got this card in the mail, which I'm not happy about. In addition to which, I'm also not happy about that my life is about to be disrupted. My husband works at home, our next door neighbor works at home for 9 months to a year of banging and clanging. And I know I'm entitled by law to peaceful enjoyment of my house and I won't be. And I'm wondering if there's any compensation now, which there really should be. Now, I'm also worried about two things that are on the plans that I don't like. The pool equipment, it should be under their bedroom window, not mine. And if it isn't good, if they're not moving it, I want it to be put into the plans that they have to heavily shield it for sound. It's bad enough to have to put up with 9 months of banging and clanging and not have to hear a pump go on and off day and night. I have a lovely garden back there. We use it a lot, which brings me to another thing. This looks like an old house. I want to know what kind of mitigation is being put out to make sure there's no asbestos of other debris coming from the demolition of this house onto my organic garden, which I eat out of, that's only a few feet on the other side of the fence. So that's another thing that I don't know if that comes into under this group's purview or not. You go on and on with the arborist plan, which I'm very familiar because I've dealt with other trees in this city. Well, it should also be protect my yard from whatever crap comes out of that house when they hit it with a bulldozer. Because I am worried about that in my organic garden. And it's only a few feet away. There's all of what, a 6-foot fence? I am a common neighbor to this house. I have two sections of fence on it. That the rest of my 200 feet of fence in the back, 2 feet then go with this property.
Two sections.
Two sections, about two sections, about 10 to 20 feet. The rest of it's, I'm not contiguous, but I'm contiguous with this project. So it really will affect me. Now, in terms of privacy, I think most of my big trees will keep it private from the new second story. But when they don't have leaves on them, the two trees that would block the view is a black walnut. When it has no leaves on it, and also the black cherry, I think we'll be staring in each other's windows from the second floor. And I don't know how that quite works, because it's really hard to tell now with no second story on that house. And also with all the leaves on the tree, I spent some time looking at that, so that's yesterday. Most, it depends on how much any windows look on the diagonal of that house and the way it's featured in the plans. I read the plans backwards and forwards, and I know about what they said on the website about this. So I think that definitely, I think it's within your purview to make darn sure that that pool equipment is quiet, properly insulated for sound and or moved, or both. Because I don't think any of my neighbors would like to hear it. Now, there was a pool on that property before these people bought it, and the previous owner filled it in just before she sold it. And I don't recall having a pool equipment problem there either, but I believe it was on the far side of the house from where I live. So that's something that you could work on. I'm not sure how far of what you do or don't do, but I think about what's in there. It's also discussion I noticed on the plans about talking to owners about changing the fence. My have 200 feet of fence. The previous owner tried to get me to change the two sections of my 200 feet to match hers, and I said no, just so because she could sell the house. I don't know if I really want to change this fence. I had been maintaining the fence,
Selling you.
and she sold it just fine without the fences matching. In fact, sounds like she should have left the pool in. These people would have liked it. But in terms of, I don't know if that fits into about why the fences are even listed on the plans as discussing with changing the fence. What's wrong with it? I have spent a fortune over the years with some cooperation from some of the neighbors to keep those fences up. When they got flattened by wind, flattened by rain, we spent the money to put them back. And they seem to work just fine. So I don't know why they feel the need to change the fences.
So I'm gonna cut you off because you've now exceeded
Okay,
the
no,
three-
but I was gonna ask him if he had anything to say.
So do you have something to say separately as your own public comments?
Reiterate just one point. My name is Ted Goldstein. I do medical research and support several efforts, including the California Institute for Regenerative Medicine. I work from home, and this is an implication. I understand people will build and hammers will swing, but at the same time, we're living in a different age than we were. All of your rules we made during the age when people went off to offices and worked. We're now in a situation where most of us work at home. You probably mostly work at home too. So.
And our neighbor who's directly behind, she works at home too. She wanted to be here, Julia, but she wasn't able to. She had to work.
So I think in terms of this, we need to rethink what the impact is on the public and the society from every one of these projects. One thing you could do, for example, is only do these things in odd number years or something. So that not everybody is individually does it.
At the very least, we want to have a schedule of construction so maybe we can absent ourselves when they knock down the house, when they're framing it. I absolutely want
Okay,
that.
so one, so I'm the Development Services Director, so I oversee planning, building, and engineering. So everything that gets constructed in the city goes through me.
Okay,
So number two, the construction BMP's best management practices, things that have to deal with the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. If they have asbestos in that building, they will have to mitigate it pursuant to state and federal law. So they can't get around that. They can't even take it to a dump if it actually contains asbestos and wasn't taken out by a licensed contractor and hauled by someone that's licensed. So that's a big component. Number three, and it's not something that you're gonna like, but they're allowed to construct within the confines of what construction hours are. There's nothing that we can do about it.
and what are those hours right now?
Which are they off the top of my head?
It's a condition of approval. Condition number 22. Construction hours, 7 a.m. and no later than 5:30 Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturdays, no work permitted on Sundays or any city observed holiday.
Which means most of the time we're working at home, because I'm home too all day. I do artistic stuff and work in my garden. We'll be hearing this for 9 months.
What is the abiding law?
before 9 on Saturday.
What, is the city, county, state?
So this is a local ordinance, so it's a city local ordinance, it's been in effect for, I mean, years, this is what the
So
construction.
no work
So
before
you'll end
9?
up with the city.
Yeah, so us, so the construction hours are what they are, they're very consistent with
7 to
all
5:30,
the Bay
yeah.
area. So, with that, that is what they are allowed, you know, like what I've told several applicants, and also oppositional neighbors is if you guys want to kind of work amicably with your neighbors who are gonna live on the other side of the fence, I would so say to do so. And I would say you're gonna get a lot more bees with honey than vinegar. And they can hopefully provide you guys a construction schedule of some of the major construction work that goes
Yeah,
on.
like demolition, the framing, all that very noisy
Correct.
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, demolition though, at the end of the day, that doesn't take that long. We just demoed a very large commercial building at 5150 El Camino Real, and it was level to the ground within a week. So, and that's a major commercial building that was constructed out of concrete and also.
But how long do you
mass
think
timber.
this one will take?
I mean.
This is a private home.
It depends on exactly what, if they were going to maintain any of the existing structure, or is there any of the structure that's going to be maintained or leveled to everything?
It's completely
So-
great.
So that usually means quicker than when you're trying to cherry pick part of the walls in order to be able to save. So with that being said, now there is a condition of approval that are already in this, as well as even if it wasn't, the municipal code overrides anything. Is that any type of construction noise, any type of mechanical equipment noise, which doesn't just cover pool equipment, but also covers AC equipment and everything of that regard. Anything noise generating has to abide by the Los Altos noise ordinance. The reason why that matters is that if it were to be approved at a certain decibel level, and then it was to be constructed and operate for the first, let's say, 5 years under a certain decibel level, if at year 6, the decibel level starts going up because it's an older system, whether or not it's that property owner that's building the property today, or someone in 6 years from now that buys it from them, they're gonna have to maintain the decibel level that is set by the code. And there's different decibel levels depending on the time of day, depending on the type of equipment, and depending on the district. And so those are all things that are overarching. It's probably why you didn't have a problem with it before, because the noise ordinance for those provisions has never changed. It's been in effect for over 30 years. In regards to something that you're immediately started about just compensation because of things such as noise or interference of your private enjoyment. The way that this ordinance was written about noise and construction hours is to the benefit of your private use and enjoyment of your home. However, that doesn't mean from sun up to sundown that you guys get to kind of have the monopoly on the property. As long as they're within the confines of what the code allows, which is the 7 to 5:30, they're allowed to do construction on the property. That's what everyone has. If they had to do anything, which for single family homes, you don't really have to do a special type of a permit, but when we do big multifamily or commercial development, sometimes they have to get a specialty permit for a crane or something of that nature. This is a single family home. There's no special construction methods, no steel beams, correct? Okay, so
There might be a few steel beams.
steel beams, but I mean, the type that are small enough where the guys are picking them up, right? Or a semi manual like dolly system. So those are not what we end up seeing as a significant impact for the immediate neighbors that would be adjacent. What other specific issues? Because I know a lot of what you guys have brought up is stuff that's mitigated and taken care of during building permit, which this department does oversee, but this is the entitlement to give the authorization. The municipal code does not give anybody vesting rights from today moving forward. They have to maintain the compliance with all of the sections for construction noise, construction debris and waste. The Air Management Quality District is one of the most heavy regulators in the state, specifically in the Bay Area. So BACMed is the ones that enforce that. So there's a lot of kind of systems that are in place, but what did I not cover that you guys have brought up today? The trees specifically, unfortunately, that's one of the things.
No, the trees are on my property.
Right, but.
Nobody's touching them,
Right,
right?
but you're correct. But so like what you're saying is during certain points, the privacy, the city has never, I know that a lot of, spent a lot of warm, comfy feelings for years. the city has never had an ordinance that protects private, like views and privacy. However, it sounds like you have predominantly trees that provide you that same amount of privacy,
And the leaf-
throughout the most of the year, right?
Well, from spring till these are deciduous trees, they lose their leaves in the fall and they are bare all through winter from say about November to about February or possibly March, depending on the season, the year. So that's about half the year they are and half the year they're not. But I also was a little confused, but I think that the balcony is facing the other direction from where we live anyway. But the thing is, and I also wanted to know why they feel the need that they've got to talk to people about replacing fences.
So the fence thing is very common. I mean, that's what I think you guys can talk about that maybe.
Well, I don't even
offline.
understand why even it's an issue, because if this is common property and it's the way it's been handled and why it needs to be changed.
I mean, do you want to speak to that? Is it just a aesthetic component of it?
Side fences, not with you guys, but with the other neighbors is 45.
Oh, I see.
So that will have to be changed anyway. It's already brought here, already.
They have a wall.
Okay, so you're not talking about changing the back fence?
No,
with
the
walls
conversations were
solid.
with the other neighbors and
Okay,
at the right, when this, at some point, we'll have to change the fence, obviously. At that point, we have to.
so you have four
Side
neighbors,
yards.
because I have five.
I have.
Fences on five of them.
Five, I have five.
Well, you have Peter, you have me, you have Julia, and then you have one on the other side, and there's another one.
Yeah, in the middle.
Oh, there's one in the middle, some because it's another weird shape thing. It doesn't help that all these properties don't line up in
Yeah,
any
I
way,
mean,
shape or
it's
form.
cul-de-sac to
And
cul-de-sac
it's been,
usually.
some are helpful and some are not.
Right, so I mean, if this was my property, I would tell you to take them up on doing, even if you have kind of married and kind of helped keep your fence alive. I mean, it's a wood fence, I'm assuming, because you're saying fence. They don't last forever, so I
A
mean.
lot of the pieces have been replaced.
Right, so, but I mean, a one big main fell swoop, I mean, that's usually where people are having a hard time to get their neighbors to share the.
I did.
50-50.
I was amazed. They all cooperated when we had them all knocked down in that windstorm about a year ago. I'm
Right, but
stunned.
that's not, I will tell you, that's not what we see most
Well, in the
commonly.
past, I paid for it all myself, but I thought I'd ask and I was stunned, especially since I was able to get a fence guy in 2 days. I had a very good fence guy.
Yeah.
And it won't got fixed within 48 hours of that windstorm, which it needs to be. I think he had a cancellation. But I think we're most worried about the noise continuing, that pool equipment. So, okay, there's rules that say what it is. How loud can it be? Can you hear it from the other side of the fence? And we're talking from the way it's been put on that property in that picture. That's only about what, 5 feet from my wooden fence, which even has a knot hole in it, from my backyard. So that's why the other pool, whatever was there, it was nowhere near my house. And I just want to make sure that we don't hear it going on and off when we sit outside.
It's been kind of the thing we see in Los Altos Hills, right? Put storm,
It's far from their house, it's next to someone else's kitchen, you know,
it's possible.
So,
so it's the next neighbor that gets the horse.
so the way that the pool equipment, is on this plans is essentially representative of where it could go. It doesn't necessarily entitle them to that exact location if they have to come in and get a separate building permit, just like they have to for the house.
For what?
So,
The separate building permit.
so this isn't a building permit, this is an entitlement just to have the authority to be able to propose a building permit moving forward.
Step before.
Yeah, so gives them the authorization to go into building plan check with this type of design. A pool designer will have to submit a separate pool
So it's a
permit.
separate thing for the pool.
So there's a separate permit for the house and there's a separate permit for the pool. Just like we do separate permits for solar installations, everything gets bifurcated for certain specific components. And partly one of the reasons why is because they have to make sure that everything about that one standalone permit, because you don't design pools, I'm assuming, correct? You just are doing a conceptual design, right? Her license doesn't even really have her designing pools, just conceptually the layout and the. It's just.
So this
it's aesthetics.
is sort of this is sort of a speculative design.
Correct. So, and also with your landscape designer that I would assume you're also gonna further use when you have your pool equipment and your pool design and everything, they very well could also even tell them, well, why don't you do a vault system where it's essentially completely under something and you wouldn't even know that it's there, even if you were in the backyard.
Well, that sounds like a good suggestion.
But I can't guarantee that it also depends on what type of pool he was wanting, if he's doing chlorine, if he's doing saltwater, whatever it is. There's a lot of different nuances that the property owner
Come back,
work through.
come back and review it later.
Well, so no, but it would be something to, again, the with honey, not vinegar approach and talk about it, specifically.
So this isn't even an
Mrs.
approval of the
Lawrence,
plan?
No, it is.
Your
That's
your advice is good advice, but please, it's patronizing to say honey nut vinegar.
Yeah,
Okay,
because we've
I,
never
I,
heard
I
about
think, I
this.
think if you both were to watch back Zoom, which has recorded the way that you both entered the meeting was not very pleasant. At the end of the
I
day,
understand,
with
but
a
it's
room
not,
of four
neither,
city
neither
employees.
is, which I'm just trying to understand the facts of the matter.
Right, the facts of the matter is that they will be getting an approval for the project to be able to build a single family home with an attached ADU on it. It is fully compliant. They will have to get subsequent building permits for the structure in and of itself, as well as what is defined under the building code, a structure which is the pool. All of that will have to comply with the municipal code for construction, hauling, for demolition, for noise, air quality, and also the facilitation of noise thereafter. So our noise ordinance, like I said previously, it's in perpetuity. So the equipment always has to be compliant. So again, if it starts failing, then that means you either don't turn it on or you replace it. So that's really what kind of the sticking point would be.
Can I clarify, on this swimming pool, the pool enclosure is fully enclosed. For code, it's supposed to be a noise abatement structure, so at time of building permit submittal, you're going to need to submit architectural drawings of the pool enclosure. It has to have a
There's
roof
no
on it,
fence inside the
it has
fence,
to have a roof on it, has to have walls on it, has to be fully enclosed.
the pool does?
The pool equipment enclosure,
equipment,
where
so
the
it-
equipment is, that you're concerned about noise.
It's like a CMU, like, so it's actually brick, so it actually fully,
CMU.
so, so it's a concrete masonry unit, so,
Things have
so
changed.
it's literally, it's a way to also help fully.
Okay, that's a
mitigate.
completely different expectation than, because anytime I've ever seen pool equipment, a little fence. A
But
little- a
that,
little
yeah, that
plastic,
component
little
has since
wooden
changed.
Shed maybe.
But now if someone doesn't want to do that, what Sean is describing, they can do a vault system and it's below ground and
It
it's even
sounds like
more
someone
sound.
has gone ahead and taken care of some of these problems. Since the last time, because that other pool had no such thing at all. It was just a pool.
Right, and it would have been a legal non-conforming improvement at the time.
Yeah, old pools just had the equipment sitting out. There was typically not even a fence around it, but today they have to be fully enclosed with a roof.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good to hear.
And we've gotten what we think we could get.
Yeah, that was the only thing I thought I could ever ask,
already
have
have.
changed here. Anyway, otherwise it's a nice looking house.
Okay.
Also, it sounds like there's way more complicated permit process since the last time we did this. But
Thank you.
this, we're used to more Santa Cruz where they said yes or they said no and there you went. You know, this was it. This was the chance.
We would appreciate,
Yes.
when you're going to disrupt.
Yeah.
And demolish.
And the thing, because if we can accent ourselves, that would make everybody. But we have to know. And I don't want to throw a garden party the day you decide to the demo at the town. That was a plot in Rookie of you.
Sounds good.
They were having the wedding, oops, the house thing.
We'll let you run your meeting.
Okay, so with that, I don't have any additional questions. There are no other public comments in the chambers. So the design review permit of 131 San Juan Court is approved as proposed. Sean will provide you with an approval letter that allows you to go into building plan check and move forward. With that, this meeting is adjourned as there are no other items.
How do you pronounce your name? Ma'am, how do you pronounce your name?